Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Horizons with myself, Lewis. Hope you're brilliant, having a great day as always. I have been doing some work around the witch hut, making it look a little bit more witchy, doing some magical gizmos. Let's start outside where all the nature is. I've cleared this area out, it's looking good. My blue guy is still yet to grow. I don't know why he hasn't grown, but hopefully during this he will. We have all of our awesome witchery trees over here, so I managed to get these guys, the hawthorn, and I'll show you how they look later as the planks and stuff. But we've got a row of hawthorn, we have a row of these guys, the rowan, and then if we keep going over here, we have the alder. So we've got a decent amount of them. Whenever we chop them down, we just replace them, you know, gentleman's code and all that. So that is exactly where we got with that. Inside here, I have a separate chest for all my witchery goodness, and these are the hawthorn planks. They actually look really cool. Look at them. It's actually, like, at first I thought it'd be too chalky, but it's actually quite a nice kind of colour. I like it. And over here I laid down an item display just to throw in a mandrake root because I think it looks cool. And item displays are really cheap, so it might look cool and funky and expensive, but it's actually not. You just need some glass panes and a bit of red carpet, and that's it. And out here we have the very nice little garden area I've built. Check it out. Got some mandrakes growing, we've got our Spanish moss, which is extremely important for today, and we have the snowbells. I don't actually know what I need these for just yet, but we'll eventually get there. And here we have some netherworts, which are doing their thing. It would be so nice if this was incorporated into the whaler, in which it tells us whether it's grown or not. I know of these guys, if you see, you get a growth percentage. It would be nice if it did the same with these guys, especially with some of the Pam's Harvest Craft stuff. Be useful. And I brought over the jukebox. I like how it even says what's playing. That's so good. So, we're going to crack on today and do some more witchcraft goodness. Now, if we go along and have a look at our witchery, and I think we're going to play with some poppets. Yeah, and then we'll move on to altars. I think that could be a thing. That's kind of the next logical step before we get onto the distilleries. So I think that could be a thing. And now that we've got a lot of our elders and our different types of saplings, it's going to be a lot more kind of feasible to be doing all this. So the first thing we're going to need is a poppet. Now by itself, a poppet is just a poppet. It really is nothing special, but it's what we have to make first. So the first thing is a bone needle. So we need a bone and a bit of flint. So let's see if we've got some of these guys hanging about. We got a bone, cool beans, and do we have any flint? That's the question. I don't actually think we have any flint, but that's fine. We can go and get some flint. No problems at all. Yeah, we're fresh out of flint. Let's have a sleep. Wait for it to be daytime again, and then we'll go and grab us some flint. Should take no time at all. Now, poppets are cool little items, kind of like talismans that you can bind to the player, and you can bind them to other players as well, which is pretty cool. So if you're playing on a multiplayer server, you can have quite a bit of fun with them, because poppets aren't just good, they can be evil as well. But yes, you'll bind them to a player and they will have a certain effect, dependent on a certain condition. So for instance, the one that we're going to make today, I believe, will be the Earthbound poppet. And what that's going to do is, if we take a very high amount of fall damage, then it's going to kick in and it will allow us to survive, which is good. Now, you do have to have it on your player. There is a way around that, but it's fairly expensive, so we're probably not going to do that today. We'll get into that at another point, but it definitely helps out. So we'll grab this, we'll get some bone needles, because we're going to need bone needles. We're also going to need bone needles to collect ourselves some human goodness, so we can actually bind it, because you know, when it comes to witches, well, they always sneak up and they'll take your toenail clippings, or they'll fiddle around in your bed and find one of your socks or something. That is what that is what witches do. They're fiddlers, and you've got to do the same thing in this. So, and it makes it even more fun for when you're playing a multiplayer server with witchery and you want to prank your mates. You got to get close to them first, and it does actually notify if your stealing of stuff fails, but we'll get onto that later because we're jumping the gun a little bit there. Alright, so we have our poppet. Now we're going to need some string, which is cool. We're going to need our bone needle, done. We're going to need some Spanish moss, so let's get out our, and I believe I have them in here, where did I place them? Or maybe they're in here somewhere. Where have you guys gone? Ah, there we are, shears. We're going to need our shears to get our Spanish moss, so let's go and grab some of that. That's why I started this awesome little farm out here, to be collecting our Spanish moss. You can see it just regrows, which is good. So we'll grab 4 of those. For this we only need 2, but that's fine. We've got our string, and we're also going to need some wool, which is one thing I don't actually know if I have again. I'm always really unprepared. That is my thing. Yeah. Alright. We're probably going to need... Oh no, we've got some string. That's good. So we'll grab some string. Even better. Right. Let's go and shear us some very nice sheeps. And I'm kind of hoping that we have some around here somewhere. Some sheep just lying around and doing their thing. If not, there will be a small cut, as my videos tend to have, while I go foraging for wool. So you guys don't have to hang around too long. What is that? That is a horse. We can't shear horses. If only we could shear horses, that would be amazing. We can't shear cows. At least I don't think we can. Not today. Not in this mod pack. No. Although there is a set of shears that you can get. I don't know if it's in this. I'll have to look. But, oh, there's some sheep. Cool. Yeah, there's a set of shears you can get that will actually shear leather, but I don't know if that's in this or not. Alright, we've got 3 bits. We need a couple more. Now, I don't know if I can use... Oh, there's another white sheep. I don't know if I can use other colours, so let's take a few of these other colours, and we'll give it a test and see if we can use different coloured wool for our poppets. And we might as well go and shear this white guy over here as well, just so we've got an additional amount, because, you know, we're going to be playing with lots of poppets, so it means we're going to need lots of those guys. And we'll grab this guy's wool as well. Thank you very much, Lee, and yours, thank you. I don't know if we can dye wool in this. I think we can. We'll have to look into that. Then if we can't use different ones, at least we can dye that. But we know there's a load of sheep down here, so we can always run down at any point and grab those, which will be good. So the second thing we're going to check out today is going to be the altar. So witchcraft in its own does have its own source of power. Yes, now it's not an electrical type of power. It's a kind of mystical, magical type of power that witches harness. Yes. Now witches, as bad as the name sounds, are actually very much kind of adept to the earth, and because of that they draw their power from nature. So the altar allows us to draw power from the nature, all of the good stuff around us. It takes it all in, and we can use that to either power machines. So there are certain machines, or not really machines, but like our smeltery and things like that. We can power these guys. I think we can use it to do our witches' ovens and whatnot. And we can use it to power transmutations and weird recipe things inside witchery, which we'll do at our altar. So that is pretty cool. Alright, so let's bring this recipe up. So we'll do that. Let's try it first with the brown, just to see if this actually works with different types of wool, because if it does, it'd be very useful. We'll do that, and no, it doesn't look like it. So we're gonna have to use white wool to make this guy, and that's gonna give us a poppet. Cool beans. Alright, so we've got our poppet. Now we need to decide what we want our poppet to do. So you can see here there's a selection of poppets. We have earth protection, we have water protection, fire protection, hunger protection. They all sound, they are what they sound. We have the tool protection, we have the death protection poppet. Ooh. We have the voodoo protection, and we have the voodoo poppet. Voodoo poppet, very cool, very trolly. And the vampiric poppet, cool beans. Now we also have the tag lock kit. Now the tag lock is what allows us to bind the poppet to a player. So let's go with the earth protection poppet, I think. So it's a cheap one, which will do fine. So we just need to grab ourselves some feathers, which we probably, once again, haven't got because we're the worst type of person. No, I don't think we have it. How about the water protection? Have we got enough for the water protection? We need some water artichoke and some ink. I don't think we have those guys. Alright, no worries. We'll go with this. I remember there being some feathers down there, so I'll run down and grab those. But we need clay, and we need some dirt. Alright. Okay, guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab some feathers, and we'll make ourselves some poppets. Okie dokie, I have some feathers, and I was just looking at this. Look, Miranda Lily is starting to grow. How good is that? Alright, so feathers done. So let's grab our poppet, and we're going to turn to an earth protection poppet. So we need clay, and we'll need some dirt. So let's take a piece of dirt from here, and we'll grab some clay, and we'll craft us one of these guys. Ba-bam, ba-bam. Oh no, we want the earth protection poppet, which doesn't shift click. Very fun. There we go. So feathers, our poppet, our bit of dirt. I love saying poppet, it's a good word. And our earth protection poppet. Cool. So by itself, the earth protection poppet will do nothing. We need to bind it with a tag lock kit. So for this, we need a glass bottle. So let's grab one of these guys. We need 3 of these from in here. Will give us access to some glass bottles. Cool. We need that. We need a bone needle, and we have a tag lock kit. Now, there is a chance of the tag lock kit failing when you do it on other players, but there are a couple of things you can do. So you can either self-use it, or you can go over and you can use it on a bed. So if we click on the bed, you can see that we've tag lock kit has been used, and it's set to Sim and L, just like that. So if we now take this and put this in here, you can see the earth protection poppet is now done to me. So as long as I have that on me, I'm not going to take as much full protection as I generally do. So let's go and find a place where we can test this poppet out. Alrighty, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a fatal fall. I have left everything back except for some armory bits. Let's take these off. I've left everything back inside the house so that when I do die, I can just go grab it. And but let's hope that we don't die, because we've got our poppet. We're looking good. Alright, tally-ho! Let's see if we die. No! See? Check that out. Little bing. Our poppet has been used up and we're alive. So there we go. That is the earth protection poppet. So it'll only protect you from a fatal fall, not a damaging fall. But that's fine. That's cool. I might even leave some of my stuff in it. My inventory looks horribly good without all that stuff. What do we not need? We'll take you and our Spanish moss. And I think that will be it. Yep, that looks good. Cool. Alright, so those are poppets. Now, we'll get more into those later, but we need to first be able to craft these so that we don't have to have them always on us. Now, there is a way of doing that, but we have to start doing some other things first, which means we need a altar. Now, an altar is what will allow us to harness the magical essence around us, and we need a few things for that. So we're going to need some stone to start ourselves off, so let's grab some cobble, and we'll get this smelting up in there. We're going to need to grab ourselves a water bottle, so we've already got our bottles in here, so we can grab one of those. Let's go outside and get us a bit of water. Oh, we're going to have to move you, I'm afraid. There we go. And we got ourselves an artichoke with that, which is good as well. That can go inside our chest there. Alright, so we've got a water bottle. Nice. The next we're going to need some certain types of fumes. So we're going to need exhaled of the horned one. Now this is done in a witch's oven with some oak saplings. Alrighty, we'll grab some oak saplings and we'll go and see if we can make some of this. So we've got a hint of rebirth. We want some exhaled of the horned one. The next one after that we're going to want is the breath of the goddess, which is done with birch saplings in the exact same manner, to see if we can get that. So exhale of the horned one, done. Now we need some birch saplings, so let's go and grab some of those guys, and we'll see if we can get some of this. There we go. And remember, it's a percentage chance, so I'm going to hold on just in case we don't actually get it this time. But let's hope we do. Breath of the goddess, cool beans. There we go. Alright, so we've got the bits that we need. Let's grab our stone from in here. We can use this to craft ourselves some stone bricks, like so. That's 4. How many do we need? We actually only need 4. That's good. And we need some rowan wood, which I think I have. Yes, 2 bits of rowan wood. Okay, right, let's see if we can craft this guy. So we need you. We need our breath of the goddess. We need our water, we need our stone bricks, and we need our rowan. It gives us 3 altars. Now, we actually, I believe we only need to use 2 of these, but that's fine. Oh my god, why did I make a giant dirt thing in my garden? I shouldn't have done that. I'll have to get rid of that later. So, the altar needs to be put in a certain place. Now, the best place to put it is probably in a woods or a swamp, somewhere where there's a lot of living stuff, because what it's going to do is it's going to gather kind of natural essence from all of the nature around it. Now, more trees, more grass, more animals, more flowers, all that sort of stuff, the faster and more you're actually going to get from the essence around you, which is pretty cool. Let's take this one here and just do that. Cool. So you want to kind of build it in a place like that. Now, a woods and an area like this are really good. So we're going to go down and place this guy right at the front, because I'm going to build this whole area out so we've got some area around us. Okay, so it turns out I did a little derp there. We actually need to get 2 lots of these because it's a 2x3. So we'll throw these guys like this, and bam, there we go. We have an altar. So you can see here when we click on it that it's building up with magically essency stuff. and at the minute we have around about 100 out of 1084. Now there are some things that you can put on top of this will allow the regeneration to be faster and the capacity to be higher. The items that you can use for this are skulls. You can use skeleton skulls. You can use a chalice, which is one thing that you can throw down, which you have around here, a chalice, which means we need an attuned stone to be able to make that, which isn't too bad. You need some whiff of magic, you need a diamond and a lava bucket, and the whiff of magic is done with a Rowan sapling, and that can give you a little whiff of magic, and with those you can throw those on top and you're good to go. I don't know if I have a lava bucket on me. If I do, we'll craft one. No, I don't think we do, and I don't see any lava around me. No. So, if you want to be getting heads, Witchery does give you a good way of being able to do that. Now, we can see here that I have my broadsword. With Tinker's Construct, you can go ahead and put the beheading on it. That's a real good way of doing it. But if you're playing regular Minecraft and you don't have that, well, you're probably thinking, how are you going to get that? Because there isn't really ways of decapitating mods that really help that well. Well, this mod actually adds its own type. We have the Arfana. The Arfana is a weapon that is used to increase beheading by 5%, and I believe it also allows drops from mobs, a lot more common that are associated with Witchery, so things like Tongue of Dog, Wool of Bat, these are all things that are dropped via mobs. So let's craft one of these guys. I brought an emerald and some gold with me. I brought all this over from the main base, and you guys are going to be so shocked when you see the new base. It looks so good. Alright, so we'll grab these guys, we'll grab our emerald. We need a stick, so let's get a stick. That's if I actually have a stick. I don't. Let's grab some wood then, and we'll make a stick. Cool beans. And now we can make the Arfana. Cool beans. So this guy has a +4 attack, and I believe its durability is the same as around gold, so it's not that great. But how it works is you have to deal the finishing blow with the Arfana, and that allows for the drop percentage to be increased. So let's go and give this a try. If I got my armor on me, I have. You can see that this guy is pretty much done. So we're going to see if we can get ourselves some magical gubbins by hitting stuff. Now, as far as I'm aware, it has to be by main mobs. I don't actually know what stuff is that's dropped by what, so we'll have to play with that. I can guess a Wool of Bat is from bats. That kind of sounds as if that's what it would be. It kind of makes sense. But I don't really know what the rest of the stuff is, so we're going to give this a try. Let's try it on some random things, see if they drop anything weird. I don't think mules are going to drop anything, but who knows, maybe cows will. So if we hit a cow, we get ourselves our leather. Nothing special there. Let's try this guy. Come on, get it. So he dropped the same again. So it doesn't look like we're going to get anything additional from these guys. Let's wait for the night to come down a little bit, and we'll get all the bad guys out, and then we'll try dealing the finishing blow to bad guys and see what we get from those. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get ourselves a skull, because that'll be amazing, because then we can use that to put on side our table and increase either its percentage of regeneration or its overall amount that it can hold. Then I think in the next episode we'll actually get into what we can do with that. Either that, look at that dirt tower, that is horrific. Either that, or we'll move on to doing some of this stuff with the distillery. So the distillery is good, but the problem with the distillery is we need a lot of the dropped items before we can actually be using that, because the distillery is used to make more powerful potions and things like that, so we'll need to do that first. But any second now, we should have some bad guys popping. Looks like we had a bit of a minor crash there, guys. The game decided they didn't want to allow the bad guys to spawn, but we're back in, and we're giving this a shot. So we need to deal the finishing blow. So let's use our Arfana. And voila, we got ourselves a zombie head. Nice. Let's try and get ourselves some more bits and bobs from all these bad guys. I see another zombie over there. He's going to be our next victim. And maybe I should have a bite to eat before we go into battle with all these zombie fiends. Let's beat this guy up a little bit. Bob. There we go. Oh, I'm hitting him with a bag. Well, that kind of works. So we got nothing special that time. Let's try this one. Now, as far as the way, you can just continuously use the Arfana, but you don't really want to be, you don't want to be using it all up because it hasn't got the greatest durability to it. So let's keep looking around. I would quite like to find a skeleton. See if that's going to come in useful. See what skeletons are going to drop. I don't know if modded enemies will actually drop anything good. It's kind of impossible to get those guys though, because they just instantly they'll just instantly go like that. But we'll try a spider. So whoop. So we got nothing from that guy. Where's all the scallywags about? I want myself a scallywag, and I just don't see any. Oh, that's a sheep. I kind of just saw the face then, because I didn't actually realise there was a sheep up there. No, I don't think these guys are going to drop anything good. Mana elementals. Let's just try and get rid of these. And I kind of want to try it on the creepers to know if they're going to drop anything good. Oh, that's a zombie. Oh, here we go. Here comes all the boys. Alright, he didn't drop anything. Hey, finishing blow. Pop. And we got nothing from you. Let's try it on a mana elemental, just to see if it actually does do anything. I don't think it does, though. I don't even know if mana elementals actually drop anything good. No. Oh, I'm getting beaten up by a Hecate. Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to get anything from those guys. But we did manage to get ourselves a zombie head, which is cool. I don't actually know if that is one of the things that you can put on your table. Let's go and give it a try and see if that's going to help in any way. On a lot of descriptions I've read, it's generally skeleton skulls, but there you go. You can use wither skulls as well, but unfortunately the Arfana does not increase the drop percentage chance of wither skeleton skulls. Because that would just be too easy to get wither skeleton skulls then, wouldn't it? So they stopped that from happening. Okay, and we're almost back at our base, just up here, and then we'll give it a test, see how it works out. Maybe, aha, here we go, alright. Skellywag, are you going to give me a head today? If I can even get to you, because you're so OP. Did we get anything good? No, we did not. We've just fallen into a giant death trap. There we go. Let's get ourselves out of it, shall we? I really want to try on a creeper without them exploding all over my face. Alright. Did we get anything good? No. Alright. Well, I guess that's one of those things where it's just going to be a process of elimination, just hoping that you actually manage to get something from these guys. Let's try again. Anything? Nothing that time. Well, that's not a problem. But we've definitely got a lot of bad guys on our tail. So let's have a sleep, and we'll try popping this zombie head down and see if that helped. And if it does, that's awesome. If not, we're going to call it a day, I think, because we've done a decent amount. And then we'll come back in the next episode. I'm going to do some grinding and hopefully get me some more stuff for these. So let's see what we got. So the altar is ×1 at 1084. Let's try throwing this down, see if it does anything. No, doesn't look like it has. So the zombie head doesn't seem like it's done anything. We'll leave it there for it looks cool nonetheless. But we'll get back with some more trinkets and things for that probably tomorrow in the next episode. But for today, that's been cool. We've covered the Poppets, we've looked at the altar, we've got that set up, and I'm going to work on getting a big area created around it, because we actually do stuff around the altar. It's not just a standalone object, it does interact with other bits, hence why we're collecting all this energy. And we also looked into the Arfana. So next episode, I believe, will be the witches, or we'll look at the distillery, and we'll move on to possibly getting ourselves some more trinkets and all these weird, lovely items down here, and maybe Dreamweavers, because I love Dreamweavers. Then we'll make our way back, I believe, once we finally have our, because the ultimate goal of doing this is to get ourselves the flying broomstick. Once we've got that, we'll make our way back to the factory, and you guys will be nicely surprised, I think. Cool. Alright guys, I'll see you soon for another episode. Have yourself a great day. Have a good one. And goodbye.